Thanks, Chris. Morning, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity to be here. I first wanted to start by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land we meet on today, the Nulama people, and pay my respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. I'd like to extend that acknowledgement to all Indigenous people in the room today. Having lived in this region for a long time, I respect and admire your ability to help us all understand the amazing land, water and environment that surrounds us. It's great to see so many people in the room today. I know we face some challenges and some uncertainty with the current COVID situation, but I know we're also very resilient and we will continue to adapt. You would have seen yesterday that we reported a handful of cases here in Karratha and a few more elsewhere in the Pilbara. Like Chris, we think we're well prepared for this. We think we have plans in place. We know what we need to do to keep our people and our communities safe and minimise disruption. We will get some curveballs along the way, but we'll adapt, we'll work our way through it, and we'll ensure and take every action with people at our heart and as a guiding principle. I'm really excited to talk today about one of Rio Tinto's major projects for the coming years, and that's our work to reduce emissions and to decarbonise the Pilbara. Before I talk about our ambitions for emissions reduction, I think it's really important to start talking about our strategy for the business. What does Rio Tinto Iron Ore want to be? Our strategy sets an ambition for the next 10 years. It'll reshape the business we know today, and ultimately, the way I think about it, leave our legacy for the future. Our vision at Rio Tinto Iron Ore is to be the most valued resource business. What I love about that vision is the word valued has so many meanings. It's about being recognised as the best in the industry. It's delivering the most value to our people, to our customers, to our shareholders, our partners, to traditional owners and to the communities. In the Pilbara, this means continuing our work of being a good local, to help build thriving and sustainable communities. To do this, we need to behave and interact differently. We need to listen better and we need to solve problems together. We want to continue the momentum of 2021. In 2021, we opened our Karratha hub to make it easier for all of you to access us and our business. In partnership with the City of Karratha, we handed over 30 units aimed to provide affordable housing options for service workers in the Bulgara area. And we committed to a number of long-term contracts with local suppliers, more than we've ever done before. Whilst we're actively putting our efforts into the challenges of today, we need to continue to work together to make real progress on access to affordable accommodation and childcare availability. It was great on the weekend to see in The Australian the More Than Mining campaign ad, something that started right here and is generating a lot of momentum. Dedicated people trying to move the dial on a really hard problem. Delivering our ambition is not possible without our people, our absolute greatest asset. With people at our heart, we know we have a lot of work to do. All of you would have seen our release of the Everyday Respect report a few weeks ago. It's not a culture that we want or are proud of, and we are absolutely committed to change and improvement. Let me talk about emissions. A critical part of our strategy is emissions reduction. Whilst there's been broad consensus of the need to tackle climate change, there really hasn't been sufficient action at a global scale. Since the world started discussing the challenge in the early 1990s, emissions have actually more than doubled. So to meet the goal of the Paris Agreement, global emissions need to reduce 7% a year between now and 2050. And as you can see from the graph, that's an enormous turnaround. But we should take comfort from the fact that things are changing fast. Governments are setting more ambitious targets and taking action. China's commitment is particularly significant, given it consumes over 50% of the world's commodities and is a major energy-intensive producer. We've seen similar determination in action from the US to Canada, from Japan to Korea. Society at large is demanding and driving change. From switching to electric vehicles or green energy providers, to putting pressure on companies to produce goods in a carbon neutral way, or boycotting companies that don't. For us, at Rio Tinto, and for all of us in the room, this presents a challenge. But in my view, it presents an even bigger opportunity. We must meet this challenge and work closely together with governments, suppliers, customers and partners, like never before, to drive change. One of the things I've always been most proud of in Rio Tinto is our ability to solve really hard problems. We are certainly up for this challenge. Together, we need to raise our ambitions and take genuine and fast action. Over the past century, global growth has largely been driven by successive waves of industrialisation, most recently in China. The growth has raised living standards for billions of people and created huge demand for commodities like ours, iron ore. But that demand is changing as economies transform to ensure the future growth is more sustainable. Just consider this. In the coming decades, we'll see the world's largely abandon the internal combustion engine, probably being the greatest creator of productivity and wealth since the invention of the wheel. How we tackle this challenge will be our legacy. The scope of change is extraordinary. Almost everything that we know today will change. Every vehicle will be replaced. Every building redesigned. At some times of the day, in places like right here in the Pilbara, energy will be almost free. That will fundamentally change some of the core assumptions that shape our industry and our society. In late 2021, we announced new emissions reductions targets. We've brought forward a 2030 target of a reduction in Scope 1 and 2 emissions by 15%, and will now achieve that in 2025. We've more than trebled our target for 2030, targeting a 50% reduction in emissions globally on Scope 1 and 2 emissions. We're also engaging and taking responsibility for the wider emissions from our supply chain. We're focused on how we address Scope 3 emissions and cracking the code for green steel, working with our partners and investing in research and development to help us position our ores for the changing markets and the transition to a green steel future. When we look at our plans to decarbonise the Pilbara, we need to first understand where we create emissions to ensure we get the biggest bang for our buck. Based on this, we'll focus on three key projects. The three key projects that will deliver the biggest difference and really move the dial. Firstly, we are committed to building 1 gigawatt of renewable power here in the Pilbara by 2030. That is 1 gigawatt of solar and wind turbine energy to power our operations. It's about 28,000 square metres of solar panels, about the size of 2 MCG football fields. We've started the journey with 34 megawatts of solar at our new mine at Kurudari, but that's not enough and we need to move faster. And if you think about our journey beyond 2030, to get to zero emissions, we need in the order of 3 gigawatts of renewables in the Pilbara. And if we dare to dream a little bit more and think about green steel in the Pilbara, we could need up to 30 gigawatts of renewable power just for our operations. When we look at how we use the energy today, about 70% is diesel to power our trucks and our trains. And this is our other focus: battery electric locomotives and battery electric trucks. Last month, we announced the purchase of 4 battery electric locomotives from our partner Wagtec. These locomotives will be manufactured in the US and arrive here in the Pilbara late next year, 2023. It's important to understand this work is true research and development. We need to partner with our suppliers so we can both go fast. Right now, there are battery electric locomotives available, but they do not have the power we need. In fact, current battery electric locos only have about 20% of the power of our current diesel locomotives. Our prototypes and our partnership will develop and push that horsepower along. The transition to battery electric locomotives is so significant that recently US President Joe Biden visited Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where our electric locomotives are being manufactured, to celebrate the initiative. And he said this is part of powering the economy and decreasing pollution from Canada to Australia. Our journey is similar for battery electric trucks. Last year we announced partnerships with both Komatsu and Caterpillar, and we will continue to work with these and other suppliers to accelerate the development of real and implementable solutions. The Pilbara is uniquely placed in the world as one of the best locations for renewable energy. Everyone in this room knows that sunlight is abundant. But what makes it even better and more attractive for renewable power is the complement of fantastic nighttime wind. The challenge for all of us together here in the room today is how do we capitalise on these natural advantages that we have. Not everything works in our favour. When you look at the cost of building solar cells in the Pilbara, it's about double a like-for-like project anywhere else in the world. In fact, it's more than 20% more expensive than anywhere else in Australia. Now, we can all stand and justify and know there's reasons for this. We can choose to accept those reasons. Or if we really want to make a difference, if we really want to make the most of this opportunity, we all need to work together to not accept this as the state and to drive innovation and new ways of working, because with a competitive capital intensity, there is nothing that will stand in the way of the Pilbara as a renewable energy hub. If we can solve this challenge, I genuinely believe the Pilbara can help guide WA, Australia and the world in leading emissions reduction. We can build the skills and capabilities here at what should be the renewable epicentre of the world. The Pilbara has the resources, the land, the technology and the people to become a leader in this space. As I close this morning, I wanted to reiterate something that many of you have heard me say before. The Pilbara region is our heartland, and we are committed to being good locals and doing our part to build thriving local communities and businesses. And as good locals, we're committed to working with each and every one of you, local suppliers, governments, traditional owners, and the community to help build regional capability as we go on this journey together. We don't have all of the answers. None of us have all of the answers. But if we work effectively together, if we don't accept the status quo, if we really challenge each other on what might be possible, together we can take the most of what I believe is a once-in-a-generation opportunity for this region. Thank you.